It's time. Stand up, I get up. Lose focus, come on, be a go-getter. I'm gonna stay focused. Opportunities, gotta get
Someone please call 911. Ngithi khululekani babuke emakhaya. Ngithi umncede solufikile bafethu. Uyazi lesi iSpani la ke sihlale sinceda ngazonke izinkinga nemibuzo enayo malana nezemisebenzi. Sanibonani hana salute to all my hustlers. Igama umekweni leshomo. Namuhla ke samba nahustle lethu uKevin insizwa ke efisa ukuba emergency care practitioner. Uma ke ixoxa insizwa ithi bese groundini kudlalwa ibhola nangu ke umdlali uyalimala uyushawa ngembazo. Wahamba ke wamncedisa ke asebenzisa i-first aid kit bafethu. Uthi ke uthando lwakhe laqala khona lapha. Sohamba siyomona ke axoxele ibali lakhe ligcwele bafethu. Mina ngithi tshela isitori sakho sikumamele.
One or two guys that just decide to take a chance, especially when you're like a 10-year-old boy or a 15-year-old boy walking down the road.
We could tell each other secrets. We could fight for each other. If he did something wrong, I'd defend him for mom.
So if you do it, then it would obviously make you gay or homosexual. You know what? It's an activity that I want to do and that I want to excel at. So growing up in Kensington has been an interesting experience. It has progressed over the time from very little early ages while I was like 5-6 years old. It used to be a very quiet area, and now it's very busy. The usual is obviously getting woken up at 5 in the morning by the start of cars and traffic. That's when you know, right, it's time to start our day. So that's basically how it's kind of been here in Kensington. But on the way here, you do go through some really dodgy areas and dodgy streets. So one or two guys that just decide to take a chance, especially when you're like a 10-year-old boy or a 15-year-old boy walking down the road. So they take a chance and see what they can get out of you, but nothing drastic, nothing hectic.
Well, our relationship was very close. Like, we could tell each other secrets. We could fight for each other. If he did something wrong, I'd defend him for mom. We would sometimes break dishes and then tell him, and we'd do it together. I always knew my brother is smarter than me. He is generally smarter than me. But that comes to an advantage because he can help me. You know, I don't see that as a disadvantage because he always helps me where I don't understand things.
I started my high school in 2010, and I started high school at JP High School for Boys. And went throughout my 5 years at JP Boys, was involved in a lot of sports, primarily first aid. That was my main activity that I was involved in, but I was involved in other sports such as rowing and rugby as well as cross country.
Every time he came home with trophies and medals, it was more of an inspiration, more than jealousy. It wasn't exactly, it was more of inspiration for me in that I could push for that one day. One day I'll be the girl who'll have that medal. One day I'll be the girl to have that trophy. But not exactly the same, but you'll have your own. And one day you'll be able to keep them in the cabinet just like he keeps his, like all those trophies. One day I'll have them.
When I discovered my dream during primary school, I was working an event at a soccer that was happening, and they had no one to cover the event. I had just started first aid, and I thought, okay, you know what, let's give it a bash. No one gets injured anyway, I might as well get it for the hours. Funny enough, somebody actually got injured, and luckily I was there and I was able to treat the patient. And that person came to me later on and said, look man, thanks a lot. I really appreciate you being there for us. And that for me just triggered something deep down inside to say, look man, this is definitely something for you. To be able to make a change in people's lives and make a difference in people's lives is something I want to be able to do for the rest of my life. So when you do first aid, there's a stigma, or back in the days, there was a stigma to it that if you do first aid, because of the whole stereotypical aspect to it being that it's for nursing, and nursing is primarily for women. So if you do it, then it would obviously make you gay or homosexual. So there was that stigma to it. However, I did not let that set me back, and I thought to myself, no, you know what? It's an activity that I want to do and that I want to excel at.
In a sense, when we were younger, he always used to talk about being a pilot. So I thought, I genuinely thought that he was going to be a pilot. I really thought that he was going to follow that dream. And then the moment he started doing first aid and all these other activities, and I could see how passionate he was about those other activities, I saw he really loved this. But being younger, I could see that Kevin loved being a pilot. He was talked about planes, and he was really interested in being a pilot. So that kind of made him happy. But then, yeah, he was really dedicated to first aid.
I matriculated from JP Boys in the year 2014. The plan was definitely to go into emergency care. My dream had already started way before I started high school. So my plan was definitely to go into emergency care once I'm done with school. I did have a bit of challenges with getting into BTech, which is the emergency care degree at certain varsities. Not all of them do it. The only one that's closest to me would be the UJ campus here. So that one was one challenge. They had initially declined, so I thought, no, I'd definitely go and take it up at Netcare. The challenges that I faced at Netcare was obviously the transition from high school to adult education, and obviously moving into the real world as to what people kind of refer it to. So that transition from high school, where you've got the nice, cool teenage mentality, and now to have to apply the adult theory and adult way of thinking in life. I think that was a bit of a challenging step for me, but with a bit of time and a bit of coaching, I eventually pulled through and overcame that challenge, and I think I kind of fit in quite well now. So I'm currently studying my diploma program through Netcare as an emergency care technician. I've scheduled for an interview with Netcare tomorrow as a possible candidate to possibly become part of the team and be employed by Netcare as a paramedic once I complete my studies.
He should just be honest with himself, because a lot of people in the world today, they look for honesty and for diligence. And if people don't have that, then there's not much left for them. So I'm just gonna tell him to be honest, to have diligence, and to just have that dedicated driving force that people can see that he's actually focused, and he's really determined to do this career, to follow this career path.
For me, knowing that I've made a difference in someone's life is more valuable than any amount of salary that one can be offered. When you go back home at the end of the day and you realize that you've given someone that opportunity to spend Christmas with their family or spend Christmas with their children, and to carry on living life, that for me is one of the best and most favorable feelings that one can get.
What's your general approach to a patient? So you arrive at any scene. I want your general overall approach to any particular emergency.
Alright, so here I am at the Netcare Faculty of Emergency and Critical Care. After waiting for so long for my interview, finally arrived and I'm up for my interview. I'm a little bit nervous. Please wish me luck, guys. Okay, let's do this.
Morning, Kavin. My name is David. I'm the Head of Clinical Leadership. Welcome to the Faculty of Emergency and Critical Care. This is the place where we train paramedics to come and work for us. Why are you interested in being here?
I've always had a passion and a dream in emergency medical care, and I've just thought this would be the best step to take my career in emergency care further.
Okay. Have you had much experience before?
I volunteered a little bit as a basic ambulance assistant.
Okay.
And I thought this is definitely a better option for me to further my knowledge and my skills in emergency care.
And you spent a bit of time studying some more emergency medical care after that. How's that gone? What have been the challenges?
It's been interesting. The most challenging bit is obviously when you're alone, studying alone, and you're not under the guidance of someone that's qualified already. To try and grasp the concept can be a bit challenging, but whereas if you're under the guidance of someone who's experienced and knowledgeable about that subject, you can always refer to them and they can explain it to you in a way that you'll understand. So I think that's been the most challenging bit. But yeah.
Okay. And you've been doing some of the basic sciences stuff as well.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite subject from the basic sciences?
Chemistry, and from between physics and chemistry, I would definitely go with chemistry, and then life sciences.
You're enjoying those?
Very much.
That's good. Why do you think they're important to have some of those basic sciences?
I think it's important because you need to kind of have an understanding on the physics and how things work. Because if you get onto a scene, for example, and you need to kind of understand the physics aspect to it to be able to have an understanding as to what could have possibly gone wrong and to the extent of the situation. So that way it will help you manage the situation better if you have a physics understanding towards it.
Okay. And then on the personal side, why do you think you're the type of person that would be good at this job?
I have a passion for people. I'm very understanding and I'm very hardworking. This is definitely something I've always wanted to do, and I believe that once I do start, I'll definitely be a great asset to the industry because I'm very hardworking, as well as my experience that I've picked up and the fact that I'm a fast learner as well.
Okay. I just want to explore some of the more specific things about you. Because you've got some experience. What's your general approach to a patient? So you arrive at any scene. I want your general overall approach to any particular emergency.
In my opinion, you need to be very calm.
Yes.
You need to assess the whole scene, and you can't be narrow-minded. So you need to think of all the possibilities. You need to really evaluate your scene thoroughly. And you need to process all the possibilities, and you need to process all the possible scenarios, or what could go wrong, or what has gone wrong, and what you're going to do about it. So it's very much you need to be practical. You need to be tactical about it, and but stay calm as well, because you are dealing with a patient.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you can do is to put them under pressure and under strain.
Do you know what the factors are that influence blood pressure? What are the things that would make it go up or down?
So things like your health, trauma specifically, so whether you're bleeding out or stress levels, anything that changes your heart rate, your breathing, any medical conditions. So it's quite a variety of things, but the things that we normally look at specifically in trauma obviously is loss of blood, major loss of blood. That has a big effect on your blood pressure in terms of dropping your blood pressure. And from a medical point of view, generally target the high blood pressure, because that's generally what the most probable cause for blood pressure regulation. So we look at the high blood pressure, which is caused by cardiac problems, respiratory problems, and that will definitely have an effect on your blood pressure.
Okay. Last question about this. If the patient has a really low blood pressure, what can you do about it?
We'll administer fluids. We'll titrate the fluid administration.
How do you administer the fluid?
Intravenously. So we'll intravenously cannulate the patient's vein and we'll administer fluids through a cannula.
Good. So we've been keeping an eye on you. We've heard some good stories. And we'd like to put you through in a bit of an evaluation. So we're going to set you 3 tasks today to see how well you do. And then at the end of it, maybe we'll see. We're looking for some extra staff. Are you up for that challenge?
Most definitely. Thank you very much, sir.
Kevin wa itshepa o dumetse ho yena le ho toro ya hae ene wa utlwahala o na le bonnete ba hore sena ke boikgethelo ene ke se a se batlang tsebo le lerato la mosebetsi le iponahatsa ho yena ena ke emeng ya mesebetsi e kgethehileng hobane o sebetsa ho pholosa maphelo a batho o tlameha hore o bane le sebete ene o bane le ele hloko hobane o sebetsa ka tlase ga maemo a ileng hore a kotsi ene sena e tlameha hore ebe pitso ho wena my hustler ha ho lata hore le wena o be seno o tlamehile hore o bane le sona o ska wa re sheha ka o hloleha wa re sheha ka menyetla e go fitileng hobane wena o sa leke.
Hi, I'm Tanya van Tonder. I'm an emergency care practitioner with a bachelor's degree in emergency medical care. I started my career off in the military, where I did a year of basic military training. Thereafter, After I studied, I continued my work at the military for a year. Then I moved to the Department of Health, becoming a lecturer on the Diploma in Emergency Medical Care. Worked there for 7 years, moved to Netcare in 2014, where I'm still a lecturer in Diploma in Emergency Medical Care. I'm also a part-time paramedic, flight paramedic for Netcare 911, and I'll be Kavin's mentor for today.
Hustlers yabona ke ama emergency care practitioners bahlangana nabantu empilweni zabo kungekho mnandi kahle ngoba basuke bagula noma ke balimele kodwa ngaba ilanga elihle kakhulu for uKevin mengenza ke umsebenzi onqomekayo ngempela insizwa ke izuthatha ithuba ke elinikeza abantu balaphana ke eNetcare bafethu kodwa before that kalama siren it can only mean one thing. It's time for me to give you the word jumble. Nginikeze ke amahlu amathathu bafethu abo E ababini phinde futhi no C uyazi impendulo ithumele wena nje kuphela masihamba ke manje sobona insizwa laphana ke iyenza umsebenzi ishaya itask yokuqala ngithi lensizwa phela uKevin singamfanisa ukuthi uyi doctor on wheels. So what's up doc?
Hi, Kevin, this would be your first task. This patient has fallen from the stairs. He hurt his leg, so it's your task to now manage him, and that's the first task.
Okay, cool. All right, sir, can you stick your tongue out for me?
He sticks out his tongue.
All right. How are you feeling? How's your breathing, sir?
I'm breathing okay.
Breathing okay. All right. What's his...
In a lot of pain.
Is the radial pulse present?
You do feel a radial pulse. You feel that it's quite fast.
Quite fast. All right. I'm going to listen to your breathing a little bit. All right. Do I notice excessive bleeding on that wound?
There's some bleeding, but it's not profusely bleeding.
Not profusely bleeding. All right.
Okay, it's clear. So when I'm on a medical emergency scene, I tend to go into a focus mode where I literally focus on the patient and what's wrong with them and treat them. So feeling-wise at that moment, I don't really feel much. Afterwards, I tend to start thinking about the situation and how it went.
Are you allergic to anything, sir?
No, I'm not allergic to anything.
You're not allergic to anything. All right, and your breathing is fine?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, what's the breathing rate?
Over how long are you?
Over 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds, you get a rate of 8.
Rate of 8, all right. He's breathing at 16 breaths per minute. Cool. Let's get a blood pressure so long, please. Okay, so what this gas is going to do, right, it's for pain. It's going to take away the pain for you, right? Let's just pull up the sleeve while we do that blood pressure, please. All right, we're going to give you something for the pain, okay? You're going to administer it yourself. All right, so you're going to hold the mask to your face, and then you take a deep breath and let the medication work, okay? We're just going to check your blood pressure first.
His doctor's
all
waiting
right?
at the hospital for him.
All right, not a problem, ma'am. We'll get on to that, okay? I decided to start so young in grade 6 when I first started with first aid. The reason I had started first aid was because it was an activity that I hadn't participated in yet. I had done and completed all the activities in the school, and I thought this is something that I haven't tried, and I really wanted to have tried everything. And I decided to go for first aid. It was more relaxed than the sporting world. But then later on, and I finally realized that it is definitely something that I wanted to do after being exposed to a case where I had to treat one of my teammates.
Why have you decided to be in this industry?
The reason I've decided to be in industry is so that I can be able to make a difference in some people's lives, like this gentleman over here who's injured himself. When people end up in this situation, they generally don't know what to do and don't have anyone to help them. So I would like to be amongst those people that are here to help them and make sure that they improve their state of health.
Okay.
Okay, how's the pain feeling, sir? Is the pain gone down?
Better, but it's still so bad.
A little bit better. All right, we're gonna splint your foot for you, all right?
So emotionally, I deal with the trauma by talking about it. So luckily in the environment I work in, there's a lot of colleagues that I can speak to. I'm fortunate to be married to a paramedic, so we talk a lot about situations and how I felt about it. And I must say, talking about it helps a lot. What triggered your fascination with this industry? So what made you decide to come and join this industry?
So the desire to be able to change patient status and to be able to help them make a difference in a patient's life, give them that hope that there's still hope for them even though they're injured. Being a paramedic, it's a completely different field. It is a completely different profession. Being a doctor, everybody knows of doctors and everybody knows what a doctor is and they have these expectations of a doctor. However, paramedics are people that not everyone speaks about. I would classify them more as the underdogs, and it's a profession that is growing.
You have 3 minutes, 30 seconds left.
Okay, we're gonna moisten the dressings. Crepe bandage. All right, so we're almost there.
And when did you complete your basic ambulance assistant
I
course?
completed it here at Netcare Education in 2015. I went straight into volunteering, And now when the ECT program started, I took a chance to come and try out for this and just extend my education further.
Okay, so one of the challenges, task one, was probably the position that the patient was in. On the stairs, there's not a lot of space to work in, but he managed. And with that space, you need to splint a fracture, you need to get to the patient's chest, and you need to focus on where you work so that you're not hurting the patient more. Okay, good. Now that we've seen that you can manage and you communicate very well under pressure, now we're going to move on to task 2, and I need you to move the patient from here into the ambulance.
Kevin o ne a le calm and o na le interaction e ntle le mokudi wa hae. O botsa dipotso tse bohlokwa le voice ya hae e etsa re mokudi wa hae a theose moya. Ho kena lekaleng lena o hloka senior certificate for diploma kapa yona grade 10 ho etsa in-service training. Maths le physical sciences ka tlwaelo di compulsory. Di subjects tsa life sciences di ka o thusa. Di pedi ditsela tse o ka di nkang ho aha career lekaleng lena. Tsela ya pele ke hore o ye university, tsela ya bobedi ke hore o etse tsona short courses. Je ka ha re phela re bua mona na hae ma hustlers ho sa kgathalletsehe maemo a hao. Tsela e teng o ka enkang e tla ho atametsang bokamosong ba hao.
All right, everybody secure. All right, Christius, do you want to grab the top for me? And then Tabo, let's grab the bottom. And then we're going to keep the patient's head above. I'm going to hold the oxygen cylinder. And we're going to slowly maneuver him around the stairs, all right? Okay, slowly lifting him up on 3 together.
Kevin, so for task 2, I need you to move the patient to the ambulance safely without inflicting more pain.
Tabo, can you get us a scoop stretcher ready, please, and a pillow? All right, you bring it up so long, and then you can pull the stretcher out the ambulance. Okay, so I'm going to align this, and then can you take this down so long? We'll connect him back into the ambulance again.
I think being qualified at a very young age, so I qualified at the age of 22 as an advanced life support, which is the highest qualified that you can get. I think you're very young. You do not all 22-year-olds see what we see. So I do think it does affect your life. It makes you be grown up very early on in your life. And I do think it makes you think differently about things. It makes you safer in your life, the way you approach things. And it makes you probably teach your community a lot better. How do you keep yourself busy?
All right, so how I keep myself busy is obviously during the days I work 12-hour shifts voluntarily, and then I do some exercises and running on the weekends just to keep myself busy when I'm not working. So I did not have the money to get to study BLS at school, and my parents weren't able to fully support me all the way 100%. So the sponsorship was a way for me to be able to finish or to complete these studies here. With the help of my parents and the sponsors, I was able to successfully complete this BLS program, and that was the start of my career in EMS. All right, sir. Okay, we're gonna put you up on 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. All All right, can we secure him, please? Let's get the straps on so long. And a pillow, please. Okay, I'm holding him. Will you just put the pillow under his head? For me, the best way to be able to make a difference in the community is to educate the people and empower them. Especially, there's a lot of times where people phone an ambulance where there's no need to phone an ambulance. They could go to a clinic or they could go and see a GP. So it's all about empowering them and helping them understand their conditions as well, especially the people with chronic illnesses and diseases.
Yeah, so a traumatic scene for me, most traumatic. It would probably not be the most gruesome, bloody scene that everyone would think it would be. It's probably a drowning of a kid. I think that emotionally gets to me really, really badly. Probably because I'm a mother, it gets to you. And I feel any scene with a kid really, really gets to me because it's not their fault.
All right, everybody secure. All right, Christius, do you want to grab the top for me? And then Tabo, let's grab the bottom. And then we're going to keep the patient's head above. I'm going to hold the oxygen cylinder. And we're going to slowly maneuver him around the stairs, all right? Okay, slowly lifting him up on 3 together. All right, go straight down your side, Tabo. Go straight, turn to your left, right a little bit, right. Okay, so being 21, being young, there's this whole adrenaline rush that youngsters have, and young people my age have and want to experience. And yes, I consider myself being an adrenaline junkie at this point of time. Where I'm enthralled by all the adrenaline, by all the lights, the sirens, all the thoughts, the anticipations, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. You managed to move the patient safely down the stairs onto the stretcher without causing more harm. We're going to now move on to task 3.
Kevin o tlameha go potlaka empa ke rata ha ntse a buisana le mokudi wa hae ka se a se etsang se khotsofatsang ka mosebetsi ona ke re o thusa community ya hao mosebetsi ona o atile o sebetsa le bakudi personally le di family tsa bona empa o sebetsa di long hours o sebetsa ka di weekend ho nka maikarabelo ka maphelo a batho ha se ntho e bonolo and o sebetsa ka tlase ga boima ma hustlers katlego ke boemo ba kelello ya hao hore o atlehe wena o tlameha go ipona o atlehile Isiguli ke sesilungisele sazafaka emotweni sophuma ke uKevin ukuthi akhiphe ikhono lakhe akhombise ukuthi uyakwazi ukwenza umsebenzi njengoba ke insizwa izosebenzela endaweni encane emuva kwevan ake sembe ukuthi yonke into ihamba kahle nesiguli ke sizothola uncedo kodwa lapha emakhaya nami ngidinga uncedo bafethu because iword jumble yangikhulisa ngiphothisa amakhanda awuthi nginikeza iphilisi nginikeza another clue which is the letter N masibuya ke emva kwekhefu bafethu insizwa iqhubeka ke ngama task thina senze so ngishange CPR bafethu and give you a breather and take a break.
Kevin, for task 3, I require you to load the patient into the ambulance, manage your patient en route to hospital.
Alrighty, cool. Alright, so we're just gonna strap you in, alright, while we go inside the ambulance. Just keep your arms to your side, please, alright? Thank you. Perfect. All right, just the two. All right, so you're gonna hear 2 bumps as we go in. All right, that's just the stretcher folding in, okay? Alrighty, so now we're just gonna do some assessments on you and then we're gonna put up an IV line, all right?
Okay, so my parents didn't really know what this field is about. They all think we're just ambulance drivers. Over the years, they've learned what we are about, and they really respect it. They really think that it's a respectful job to do, and they've been supportive all the way. So Kevin, have you always known since you were a young child that you wanted to do this?
This kind of started out when I was in primary school, very little. I really loved doing activities and taking part in all activities. My first activity ever was athletics, and then I went on to doing all the other extramurals in the school. The only one that I hadn't done was first aid, so I thought I'd give it a try, and that's where it all kind of started out. So I gave it a try. So I've made sure my area is nice and sterile. I've cleaned it using an aseptic technique. When I lose a patient, initially it was very difficult for me to be able to cope with. You would feel guilty for not being able to help this patient and make a difference in this patient's life. And then I kind of realized over time and through experience that unfortunately, sometimes it is the way of life and sometimes it is the time for them, you know, to leave. Okay, sir, I'm gonna put insert a needle into your arm, all right? Please don't jump, don't move. It's gonna be a small prick on the hand, okay? Is the line ready and running? All right, Tabo, you wanna just slow down for us there, please, while the line goes up? Okay, so going in, relax for me. Okay, do I get backflow?
You get backflow.
All right, so we've got the IV line up and ready, all right? We're gonna take you through to the hospital now, all right? And then they'll be able to treat you further and manage you better, all right, sir? I describe myself as being someone very relaxed, someone very focused in life, and despite all of that, you still have situations thrown at you, still get obstacles thrown at you in your way. That's a general story of life. However, for me, in order to overcome those, I have things that I do, such as my running, my exercises, but also I'm the type of person that loves to read, so sit down and just read a good book and you know, just quiet down and focus into a different zone, different life, and you're reading about something completely different to what you're experiencing. And once you take your state of mind out of that situation, you'll be able to process it better the next time and focus better. So you'll be able to think about the situation and process it better. All right, sir. Some more gas for pain. All right, as explained before, you're going to hold it. All right, you're going to press this button over here at the end, and then you're going to take a nice deep breath in and let the gas do the work for you, okay?
So this industry really makes you take care of your own family. It makes sure that you pay attention to small details. Sometimes it makes you a hard mom because get up and go, because it's not that bad. Maybe that's not a bad thing because you make your kids stand up for themselves. But yes, definitely. So you make sure you take swimming lessons for your kids. You make sure they're tied into a cot and then they understand why you're doing that. Thank you, Kevin. That was very well done. You managed to safely load the patient into the ambulance, monitor your patient en route to hospital, establish IV access, and you further managed his pain. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Kevin, what I would like to say to you, continue working hard, stay focused, always be in class, practice hard, be where you're supposed to be. If you're dedicated, you'll make it.
Welcome back with me, Kevin. You had a busy day.
Indeed, I have.
Good, so you've had a busy day with us today, Kevin. Tell me about the 3 tasks that you did.
So first task, I had to treat the patient on scene, had to make sure that the patient was stable, so evaluate the patient, see what condition they're in, and then start the treatment on scene.
Okay, and the second task?
Then second task was moving the patient into the ambulance from the stairs, so maneuvering him from the stairs onto the stretchers and into the ambulance. So you had to just make sure and pay careful attention to his fracture and maneuver him in a way that you do not make things worse, so exacerbate the situation.
Okay, and the third task?
The third task was ensuring that we maintain the patient's stability en route to hospital and keep the patient calm and reassured, and just make sure that his pain was managed and that his physiology was also managed.
So which task was the most challenging to you?
The most challenging task was the second one, where we had to maneuver the patient from the staircase onto the stretcher and into the ambulance. Moving him from the stretchers to the ambulance was alright. It was from the staircase onto the actual stretcher. Because of the position that he was in, number one, also the space that we had was confined. So it was quite a bit of an eye-opener as to what other things we do need to look into, especially if you're a paramedic and you get sent to a place like that. How you're going to be able to maneuver your patients.
You learn anything else in the task?
I did learn quite a few interesting things during the task. One of the things I needed to be very careful of is to ensure that the patient doesn't move. Also need to make sure that if you're going to maneuver the patient, how you're going to maneuver the patient onto your stretcher, protecting the injury, especially in a very confined space. So you need to be very tactical about it and think practically before you make a judgment, say, right, this is what we're doing. You need to think of all the possibilities and what could go wrong and how it could go wrong.
Good, so before I tell you about the assessment feedback, do you have any questions?
What I would like to find out is, once I do start, what's the career plan, what's the career path? Where would I be able to go from here? What would I be able to do with my scope of practice, with my qualification?
Okay. So within our company, within Netcare 911, you'd be starting working on an ambulance as an ECT, an emergency care technician. And thereafter, there's other studying opportunities. So there's a degree that you could complete, which would take you much further and into the aeromedical environments, working on planes and helicopters. There's many things in your future. So I got some really good feedback from your mentor who was watching you. She said you did all the critical actions really well, and your overall performance was good. So I'm very happy to tell you that I'd like to welcome you to be part of our team. as soon as your studies are over. Congratulations.
Sheesh, wow, thank you very much. So that's very exciting news, and I look forward to being a part of your team and hope to make a difference.
Good luck with the finishing of your studies.
Thank you very much, sir. So I'll see you when I'm done.
Good.
All right, guys, so big day today. Just got the job, really challenging stuff today. Really excited for this. Once I'm done my studies, I know I've got a spot here in the industry. For all the guys out there, the hustlers, panda, pusher, player. As for the hustlers out there, guys, presser, pusher, panda.
Well done, Kevin. Re ithutile ho wena hore le rona ditoro tsa rona di ka tswella ha fela re na le courage ya ho di tswelletsa. Potso ya rona ya beke ena e tswa ko baite. A rena o batla ho tseba hore ana mosebetsi wa logistics kapa batho ba logistics ba sebetsa ho etsa eng. Ha o le logistics kapa yena distribution manager, o tlameha ho sebetsa procedure e nepahetseng hore dintho di tsamaya mo di tlameha ho tsamaya teng, di fihle mo di tlameha ho fihla teng. Di tsamaye sebakeng se right, di fihle ka nako, and hape ka ho lekanetseng. Di procedure tsenana re bua ka transportation, re bua ka quality control, costing le storage. Ha eka ba hona le ho sa utlwang, hopola o checkela Facebook kapa website ya rona. Ke emetse ya hao potso. Mission accomplished. Isikhulane ke sifike kahle esibhedlela, safika ngokukhulu kushesha nangokuphepha bafethu. Manje ke insizwa uphethile wakho umsebenzi njengoba ke sakuthola saya emergency care practitioner khona lapha ke Netcare. Insizwa sikuthusela inhlanhla. Speaking about emergencies, it's time for me to give you the answer to the word jumble. Igama kade silifuna yi emergency. Behle lapha ebusweni come on but sibalasele ke abayitholile mina kumfana kaMntambo ngidonsa zonke intambo sengiphuma kanje akahlali khona lapha ke yazi enkundleni zokuxhumana bafethu Twitter, Facebook nayo ke YouTube ngihlala ngitshela ngithi press push up panda ungabheki phansi bheka phezulu. I tell you what, today's show was sick.